the fastest and easiest form of transportation. If you are to plan a trip across the country, your best bet would not be by car. Airplanes are one of the fastest and easiest forms of transportation and can get you somewhere in just hours that would have taken days otherwise. While flying is the safest route, there will always be a risk at hand, including the airports at which you are departing and arriving to. For most people, there will always be a slight fear of flying in the back of their head, whether they choose to acknowledge it or not. While this happens to more people than not, the thoughts are usually not regarding the airports themselves, but rather the reliability of the plane, the other people on the plane, and the weather that they might endure. People tend to overlook the actual airports as being dangerous and don't realize the risks that come with them. In this speech, I will cover a number of airports and their dangers, including what makes them so dangerous, how pilots train and maneuver through these conditions, what makes an airport safe, and what makes one dangerous. Air travel has become one of the nation's largest sources of domestic and international travel. In 2015, the Bureau of Transportation estimated that approximately 900 million people departed from airports within the United States, with their destinations being both in and out of the country. Among the 900 million total flights, about 100 million of those were international. With the multitude of airports in the U.S., many people don't realize that a large portion of our economy is based on travel. With the normalcy of aviation at an all-time high, people tend to get on airplanes without questioning the quality of the airport. Instead, the thought either never crosses their mind or they assume that all airports are the same when it comes to safety measures. While pilots are trained intensely for both landing and takeoff, there are still a number of uncontrollable obstacles that go far beyond their countless hours of training. The surrounding geographical barriers are often what make an airport so dangerous. Factors such as these are unable to be controlled or changed, and therefore put people at risk to potential danger. One airport in specific that I have experience with is the Toncontín International Airport in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. I have flown into and out of this airport about 10 times in the past 6 years, and it is both exciting and somewhat unnerving each time. It is located in the middle of the capital city and is regarded as one of the most dangerous airports in the world due to a number of factors. The terrain and geography surrounding the area provides many of its dangers. Landing requires the pilots to make a sharp turn as soon as they begin their initial descent. This means that the pilots have to maneuver the plane to descend and stop at a rapid speed. While most airports have runways that provide extra room for the planes to ride out, this runway is especially short and forces the pilot to essentially slam on the brakes as soon as the wheels touch down. Takeoff can be tricky as well due to the surrounding mountains. Just as planes have to descend quickly, they have to do the same for ascending. If the pilot were to be 1 second off in their timing, it could be detrimental. While these airports can be extremely dangerous, the pilots and flight attendants are specifically trained for these factors so that the flight can remain as safe as possible. Over the past few years, I've seen many of the same pilots and flight attendants on this flight. Their experience and skill with this specific airport are what keep the passengers safe with every flight. Two other notably dangerous airports are the Lukla Airport in Nepal and the Princess Juliana Airport located in St. Martin. Both of these airports repeatedly are on the list of most dangerous airports. While there are several others on these lists, these three all seem to be the common denominator on all of the charts. The Lukla International is the main destination for climbers and tourists looking to visit Mount Everest. Because it is such a popular tourism destination, it can often result in larger planes attempting to land in this especially small airport. The airport and runway being smaller than normal is only one of the many reasons that this landing and departure is so treacherous. The position between the mountains, the runway length, and the intense weather conditions that frequent Nepal are just the beginning of the challenge. There are also minimal light and electrical power at the Lukla Airport, making it even harder for the pilot to see through the darkness and weather conditions. Along with the minimal lights is the little air traffic control. Pilots also have to navigate through the mountains and onto the runway with little help from anyone else. They are highly trained for these occasions where the uncontrollable variables take control of the plane. The Princess Juliana Airport is another remarkably famous airport. It is recognized because of its memorable landing. The runway sits just behind a popular public beach where beachgoers marvel at the giant aircraft multiple times a day. Like the others, the runway length is also a constant result that makes the airport so dangerous. This runway is 200 meters shorter than what standard aircrafts need to safely land. The airport was originally built for smaller private aircrafts, which resulted in the shorter runway not posing a threat. Since then, tourism has become more popular in the Caribbean, increasing the airport's usage to both small planes and larger commercial airlines. Overall, airplanes are going to be the safest and most reliable form of transportation for extended travel. While everything comes with risks, some are stronger than others, just as I described with these 3 locations. Flying into airports such as Toncontin International will come with more risk than others, yet still remain to be one of the safest and most logical forms of transportation. Every person involved with these flights are trained to ensure and obtain safe and timely journeys with each trip, whether it be across the country or across the world.